Hi, good morning. Happy Juneteenth. Suburbanprepper coming at you live from Northwest Indiana. Yeah, I didn't do a live stream yesterday. I felt ill. Talk about that in a minute. It's been raining for the past 2 days in a row, on and off all day. That's good because today was supposed to be a holiday. We were going to go to the beach. So that's canceled. Yesterday, I didn't even go into work because, let's say I got some gastroenteritis from something I ate the day before that just had me keep going, and the gift that keeps on giving, if you know what I'm saying. I can tell you when that first started. It was started when I was in SOAR school outside of Fort Bragg at a place called Camp Row or Camp McCall. I can't remember the exact name of the base anymore. And it's something you should never forget that, but I forget a lot of shit. Anyway, I had to kill a turkey or a chicken, decapitate it, crack its neck, decapitate it, of course, and eat it. And of course, in the middle somewhere, we had to cook it, skin it and cook it. And everything was so fine, except I undercooked my chicken. I put it on the fire, thinking I was going to have some barbecue chicken, instead of putting it in water and making some chicken soup. I mean, that's the freshest chicken soup in the world. And I've been paying for it since 1992. Which brings me to my video, what I want to talk about today. In the hard set reality of limitations, okay? I have some disabilities. They're never going to go away. I can sit around and mope and feel sorry for myself, or I can adjust to what my physical limitations are. Dare I say it, my mental limitations for that matter. One, got a bad back, okay, from a parachute injury. And from 8 years of active duty parachute and 12 in the National Guard with multiple combat tours. I got a bad back. I can't bend over to save my life. It's hard for me to get down on the ground enough, and then it's harder to even get back up. I have to use a walking stick to do that. Do I still shoot in the prone position? Because to me, that's the funnest position to shoot in. Yeah. But I make sure that I have a stick. I have multiple sticks, actually, that I can use to get up with. The other thing is, more recently, I have heart failure. The kind of heart failure where the heart just doesn't pump right from some chronic conditions. And that sucked. It sucks. I had to limit my time outdoors in the heat because I get too wound up. But at least I'm out there doing it. And the other thing is, I can't even really bend down like I want to pick weeds or plant. I have to do it for a little while, then I have to sit down. Do it for a little while, sit down. And if I overdo it, I get real short of breath. And I have to sit down even longer. No, I don't give up. I never quit. Night stalkers don't quit. So I'll do some work, then I'll sit down. I have a picker-upper stick that I use at home to pick up stuff, right? Because I just can't pick it up. And I thought to myself, well, why don't I get a weed stick to pull the weeds out of my garden? Because I love pulling them out. One, I like to compost them. I compost my weeds. The shit that I put in my compost this year won't be used till spring of or summer of next year. I don't compost. I compost it long term. So they say not to put weeds in your compost. I do. They're going to be gone. They're going to be disintegrated with the way I slurp it all up. Okay. Anyway, so I put those weeds in my compost. I looked at my handy picker-upper stick for the inside, and it's not meant to pick up weeds. It's not that fine. I need a little pincher. So, of course, I bought one online. I think I bought two. One is a backup, of course. So, because I do get dizzy just picking up weeds, and there's some weeds growing in my garden, and I don't like them because I want to plant some stuff, some early summer crops that I want to plant around my main crop are some more carrots. Okay. And once I transplant my tomatoes, finish transplanting my summer zucchini, and transplant my eggplant, I will have the perimeter of my raised garden bed with carrots. That's what I'm going to do as my protective crop. Instead of using mulch, I used the leaves from the carrots as a mulch. You should check out a video I just did about 20 vegetables that you should grow in your garden. Okay. Now I geared it towards more of the Midwest, but if I can grow it here in the Midwest, you could grow it anywhere. Because there's certain things that I can't grow in the Midwest that you can grow down south. Like, I can't really grow bananas down here. People down south, they can, although it really doesn't give out much fruit for the amount of space it takes. So, as a prepper, I have to think how much output I'm going to get per square foot. I don't have an equation, but like foods that are high in growing with a minimal space and calories, sweet potatoes, everything that I'm growing, has some good output, some good nutrition. And obviously in my beds, I grow three or four things sometimes together, but you got to make sure that they don't interact with each other. So I just did release a video about 20 vegetables that you can grow and which ones you want to avoid with them, which ones you can grow with them, and so forth. I want to do an updated video on my garden. Probably do it this weekend and load it up. Might do it live stream. Hell, I don't know. But back to the prepping with disabilities, okay? I could say I just give up on everything and just be a normie, but no, it's not my forte. I like to push it. I like to push it hard. Yeah, I'm not going to work today. I'm in my truck, my Jeep Gladiator, just shooting a video because this is where I customly shoot it. My live morning video. And I'm looking for while I'm talking, I'm looking because my neighbors back there, they have this little front yard bush, and there's a rabbit that lives back there. And I'm just seeing if he could pop out or not. We have a lot of rabbits in my subdivision, wild rabbits. The funny thing is, one time, some Karen caught a rabbit, okay, probably a sick rabbit because she caught it, and posted, and did someone lose a pet rabbit? Because it seemed like it was domiciled or a pet rabbit. And I made the comment. Now, some people have done this. But that doesn't look like it's a pet rabbit. That looks like it's a wild rabbit. Maybe it's sick. Of course, these people, they moved from the city to the suburbs, the city of Chicago area, to the suburbs of Indiana to escape the high taxes. And they have no idea about anything country life. And yeah, I live in the suburbs, but this town is a country town, honestly. We have one decent restaurant, that went to shit. We have a lake that's dirty. I wouldn't let my daughter swim in it. I sure as hell wouldn't swim in it. Boats go in it. They tried to clean it. I don't know what the hell happened with that. It's funny because they built a new fire station and a new police station across town, but they can't get the water to operate it. I don't understand that. And there's always some politicking going on. I should understand the politics at the local level, but a lot of these politics are personal vendettas that people have for each other versus real political issues. It doesn't really fall into left versus right, regardless of, I mean, someone may be on the left and I might agree with them on a personal issue that they have. Someone on the right, I might totally disagree with them and think they're just a total douchebag. Politics at the local level are not as divisive as they are at the, county level, state level, federal level. But it's the local people, the local politics that matter the most. You don't need to ask Donald Trump for permission to put a slab of concrete in your backyard. You need to ask you shouldn't need to ask anybody, but you need to get a permit locally to do that. Do you see what I'm saying? And how we always focus on the feds, and some people focus on the state. And when you ever talk about the county, county commissioner, which around here is just basically a mayor for the county, okay? And then the city commissioner or city planner. We don't even have a mayor in this town. It's called a city planner. I don't get it. But anyway, local politics are more important than national. That's why, to me, okay, yeah, of course I'm an American. Of course I'm an American. But I consider myself to be a Hoosier first, okay? At the state level, I consider myself to be a Hoosier, and then I consider myself to be a Hoosier who's an American. I mean, I wouldn't be anything else. But, here in Indiana, the people, we call ourselves Hoosiers. And, the joke is, who's your daddy? Whatever. But it's the local stuff that matters the most. Because if shit hit the fan, the feds really aren't going to be able to call in martial law. Okay, that's a big myth. That's a big lie. It's the governor that can do all that kind of stuff and get away with it. It's the sheriffs that can come in and try to take away your Second Amendment rights in a so-called chaotic situation. And do you know who your sheriff is? What political affiliation they are? Because let's just be honest. The more Democrat sheriffs that there are, the more likely they are to want to take away your Second Amendment rights. And did you know, in some places, if you want to get a suppressor, you have to get permission from the sheriff to get that suppressor. And one of the ways of doing it. Not around here. Around here, you can do the trust thing. You think a Democrat sheriff is going to approve some nobody that doesn't work for for Big Brother or Little Brother to get a suppressor? That's why I'm the two acts in Congress to get suppressors off the national firearms is so important. In Europe, where they have oppressive firearm laws, okay, and they're oppressive, you can buy a suppressor at a drugstore anywhere. You don't have to have anything to show it. It's like basically buying earplugs except it's an earplug for your rifle or your pistol. And there's the myth that a suppressor will, you can't tell where a bullet was shot from. Yeah, you can with a suppressor. The decibels are high enough. That's just left-wing propaganda, just to take away your Second Amendment rights. And honestly, the suppressor shouldn't even be a part of our Second Amendment rights. It's basically a muffler for a firearm. You have a muffler, you have a suppressor in the back of your truck or your car, so your engine doesn't, when the exhaust isn't so loud and screaming. Okay, you have that in your car. Did you have to pay a $200 tax stamp and wait 9 months for the feds to approve the muffler in the back of your car? Did you? Well, some of you don't even know what I'm talking about. So let me digress a little bit. To get a suppressor currently in America, United States of America, at every state level, everywhere, you have to pay a $200 or $200 tax stamp, okay? And then wait in line so the ATF can process your money and I don't even know if they do a background check. I don't know why. It's not a weapon. And then they stamp it and say, yeah, you can get it. And then your suppressor's on hold at the gun store, wherever you're buying it from. And it's on hold there. And if they don't approve the tax stamp, which I don't know why they wouldn't, you're not going to get that suppressor. You're not getting that $200 back. And everybody's pissed off because the gun store couldn't sell that suppressor. The government takes your money, doesn't give it back to you, and you don't get your suppressor. Just let that sink in for a second. So here in Indiana, you have to do the national background check for firearms, okay? In Illinois, they make you get a FOID card, which is a state thing where you have to do basically pay the state tax money, wait for whatever reason before they can say you can purchase something. And then when Illinois residents come into Indiana, if they don't have a FOID card, the gun stores and the gun shows, you got to wait whatever the rules are for Illinois in order to get a sidearm or a pistol or whatever. You have to wait. They're very oppressive. And no, I don't know what the hell they say that there's a gun show loop. So I've purchased some shit from gun shows before where you had to do a national background check, and they have computers set up to do it now. It's not, even at the gun shows, it's on computer that you do it, and they do the background check and you get approved or disapproved. And going in, because if you have a felony, you can't get it, or whatever other rules, right? If you're dishonorably discharged, or when you lied, or you left the military service or something, you can't get it. And if you're mentally unstable, well, who's going to say they're mentally unstable? Hell, all of us are, right? I'm not, just for the record. So, but originally I wanted to talk about, and I go off subject a little bit, my brain wanders. Prepping with disability. So for me, it's the congestive heart failure. And a couple of years ago, 2023 is when I really had it, and it's been a recovery since. And yeah, I've lost weight. My endurance has improved tremendously. But I can't, there's certain things that I love planting my crops, but I have to do it systemically and tactically. Because I have to sit down and I get too dizzy. One thing reason I get too dizzy is, because my blood pressure medicine kicks in, and the blood to my brain, because of the blood pressure being lower, I get dizzy because of that. And two, when it gets too hot, my heart starts beating a little too wacky, and I have to sit down. Now, what can I do to modify that? Well, I drink a cup of coffee in the morning now. As much as I hate coffee, I drink a cup of coffee in the morning to get my blood pressure going and get my energy level up. That helps. Helps a lot. I've given up drinking soda. This is just bubbly water, folks. But yesterday I had a taste of soda, or the day before, my wife got a thing of Diet Coke, and I was drinking it, and it tasted disgusting to me. And I didn't want to waste it, but I just couldn't drink it. I used to drink 2 liters of Diet Coke a day. Okay. Talk about not good GI health. Knowing that shit was not good for me. And now, like at a restaurant, I think I'm going to be cheap because I just order a water or an unsweetened tea. Like, usually when you go to a restaurant and you order food and you're the waiter and the person there, what are you going to have to drink? Oh, I'll just have a water. And the 2 weeks I worked as a waiter, I tried to. You know that you are not going to get a good tip if someone orders a water. And that's true 99% of the time. But no, I would make up for it and order a decent meal that I always order, and I'd always leave at least a $25 tip for the waitress or the waiter, regardless of the bill, at least. Sometimes the tip would be higher than what the bill would cost. I don't like to be a cheap tipper. I struggled in college for years. A couple of years, just say that. I was poor in college, and so the one thing I hated about having spring break and summer break, spring break really, is that for that whole week, if I didn't go to my parents' house, I was homeless because you had to get the hell out of the dorms, and I didn't have the money to pay to stay in the dorms extra, and I didn't like to complain, so just did what I had to do. Anyway, back to prepping with disabilities. Excuse me. So there are things that you can do to help yourself. Like I have a battery-powered wheelbarrow now that, yeah, I can lift up several hundred pounds of stuff in a wheelbarrow, but moving it is very taxing on my heart. So there's a battery in there, and it helps you move it. It moves it along. And if you see in my prepper garden, all those rocks that were put down, yours truly, and the wife, but yours truly, honestly, put all those rocks down. We had a big pile in the back or in the front here. Company dropped off rocks. We put them in the back. We wanted that because it's cosmetically appealing, less weeds, and it really makes my prepper garden stand out. There's nobody else in the subdivision that's done that with their backyard, except my neighbor, I think, starting to copy us because he put in a area of rocks where he's got a shitty looking swimming pool that he paid $1,000 for off of Amazon. But last year he had a different pool, so I don't know what he's doing. I don't really talk to him much. Try to come up for nicknames with my neighbors. I don't call the women anything because I'm not disrespectful. Anyway. I can't remember the nickname that I have for him. Yub-Nub. That's his nickname. I nicknamed him Yub-Nub because that's the Ewok song from Return of the Jedi after they were victorious. That Yub-Nub song, because that's all he does in the backyard is Yub-Nub stuff. Okay. We had a storm and he had these forget it. He had these blockers, I guess, so people couldn't see him in their pool outside in the backyard. Although I could see him from where I was. Like, I don't really pay attention to him anyway. But the storm came in and it ripped all the wood structure, because he had it in barrels of dirt or barrels of sand, not embedded in the ground. Where if you had that structure embedded in the ground, it would have survived a lot more. Believe me, one time my trampoline, we had a small tornado come through. Trampoline, it got so damp and moist, it took off like a UFO. Got up to a couple 100 feet in the air and went across the street. Landed on a car. Thank God nobody was hurt. So, yeah, you got to have things tied down here tight. So when we got my new trampoline, I made sure it was tight. And I check it frequently. And there are some things you just can't control. Back to prepping. Prepping with disabilities. The other component of my prepping with disabilities is these things, my eyes. I could not look through an iron sight of an M4 or M16 rifle anymore and see something past 100 yards at the most. At the most. At the best 50 yards, I can hit a human target with my M16 or my M4. Okay. Now, I've tried getting the big ass sights. You see them on my rifles. Okay. I've got these big ass sights. They're not this big, but they're big. They're big enough. Or you aim like you normally aim, like that. And they're illuminated. Not that that makes any difference. I'm not shooting at night through iron sights. But it's bigger, and when you have it lined up, but the old M16 style sights, I make my rifles, the furniture I put on my rifles is not for anybody else. It's for me. And so every one of my rifles has some type of scope on it, okay? For that reason. Because I cannot see. When you wear bifocals, okay? And you're basically, when you're looking through bifocals, you already have several points that you have to contact. So if I'm looking like this at a scope or an iron sight, it's not going to work out. Because the minute you move your head, again, the object becomes fuzzy, or the rear sight becomes fuzzy, or the front sight becomes fuzzy. And you don't know what the hell you're shooting at. Oh, it's a disability? No, that's just a thing of life. And I used to hate doing this, but I do it now. I have to. A lot of scopes will have the illumination on the reticule. I'm like, okay, I don't want illumination on my reticule. But the thing is, if you're aiming at a black object, okay, a black colored object, let's just say that, I don't want to get in trouble, and your reticule is black, you're not going to see your reticule when you're aiming at that object. But if you turn the light on in your reticule and it lights it up a different color, you can see what the hell you're aiming at. Okay. Like sometimes when you're zeroing your rifle, you have a little black dot, but you can't see where you're aiming on the rifle and on the target. It'd be like if you had a red reticule and you're shooting at something red, you're not going to be able to see the reticule. So yeah, those the technology to have a colored reticule now, or a brightly colored reticule, that's a good thing. So when I'm out, having fun at the gun range or wherever, I have to think ahead of time, about what my limitations are. Excuse me. And I adjust from there. So obviously I take a water pill to help regulate my heart so it can pump effectively. And when you take a water pill, you got to go pee. And many a time I pulled my Jeep Gladiator over on the side of the road, make it look like I had some tire issues, okay? Or I'm actually just, going number 2. If I wanted to go extreme with it, which I don't, you can always, there's a thing you can, I'm not going to get into it. You figure it out. But there's things that you can do to help dissipate whatever limitation you have. So I ordered a thing like this where you pick it up and it picks up, goes like that, or like Pac-Man, pick up the weeds. And I'll be able to work faster, pull all the little weeds out. Because I sort of have an obsession. I don't like my weeds to grow and suck the nutrition out of the soil. I like to pull them, put them in a bucket, and then put them to my compost. So that's my now planting is a different story. I do that by hand, okay? I'll usually make a little hole with my finger, put the seed in, cover it up. Now when you plant carrots, okay, it's more like you get one hand here with a carrot and you sprinkle it like that, like you're sprinkling salt or pepper for me. And you just let it be. Spray a little bit of water. Like today, if I were to plant carrots, I wouldn't have to. The soil's already wet. But sometimes the wind hits the carrot and it gets on the ground, and I've had carrots grow in the ground before. Of course, the thing is, I don't want them to grow in the ground because I want them in the bed because it's easier. But they'll grow anywhere. So that's life. I don't consider age to be a disability, okay? I consider physical ailments that restrict your mobility to be a disability. And I'm not jumping out of airplanes anymore. There are some jump clubs around. You pay whatever you pay, go up, jump static line. And yeah, that would be fun, right? That would be so much fun. I would love it so much. It would be so beautiful. But the landing part would not be good for my back. And I thought to myself, well, why don't I wear a nice back brace just to protect it? And why risk the chance, okay, of devastating my back even worse? I enjoyed my time doing what I did. I don't need to do it anymore. I mean, there are days where I can't pop my back and it just builds up and builds up and builds up. And I don't like taking pain pills, folks. One, because they're not good for your kidneys. And two, I don't take anything in narcotics. I refuse it. I need to feel my pain to know my limitation. What I do take are some salon spa patches. Basically, it's Bengay on a patch. And I'll wear them. I'll put 3 or 4 of them on my back. And it really helps. I've tried putting capsaicin cream, hot cream, which is good. But you put too much of it on in the same space, it tears the skin down and causes an open sore. And you don't want that on your back. Now, I've used diclofenac gel, okay, as an analgesic for my back, anti-inflammatory. That helps. I've tried the lidocaine patches. Problem is they don't stick well. I've tried the lidocaine ointment, and it helps superficially. But the salon spot patches, I wear them, and after a couple hours, it loosens up the muscle, okay, where it's not as tight, and I can realign my back without, seeing a chiropractor. And after I get that realignment done, when you snap your vertebrae back in the spot, that's when the pain goes away for a couple hours. And if I keep wearing the salon spot patch, it helps a lot. It smells like old man or old women, but it's limited. It's just to your back. So I fight through what disabilities I have. Yeah, I'm not driving today. I could pretend I'm driving. You wouldn't know the difference because I'm off today. Is that how I drive? Okay, a little bit of humor. I bought a goat mask, right? Because I wanted to make some goat mask videos. Because I talk like a goat. But I didn't realize how satanic those masks look. And so basically I got these masks that I can't even use to make some cute videos because they look so ugly. And I don't know what else to do. I don't know if I like to make cute videos too sometimes, okay, and have fun. But I don't want to scare anybody. So how's my stomach feeling today? It's still there. It's still there. I ate yesterday. Let's just say I slept and went to the bathroom, and sucked down as much water as I could. I would probably benefit from doing my own, taking some probiotics every day and prebiotics for optimal gut health. I should do that in addition to what I already take. So a couple videos that I'm been working on are check them out on my page. Some of them will get released soon. Talking about some prepping for shit hitting the fan kind of thing, and some things that you need to know. Talked about some gardening videos, 20 crops or 20 vegetables that you could grow in your garden if it's completely new to you. And some other videos coming out. I'm gonna do my live stream on Saturdays at 4 now. I decided to switch the time from 7 to 4 because a lot of you can tell when all your viewers are on YouTube on the weekends, and every day is different. Like my viewers are on in the morning between 6 and 8, I guess, mostly. So makes sense I do a live stream at 7. I can't do a live stream at 8 because I'm already at work. And in the afternoon, they get off by 6 on Saturdays. They get off YouTube, probably to go enjoy their day. But they're on in the afternoons. And I don't want to do a morning live stream on Saturdays. But I've got the video, the medical portion, because I always do a medical portion. Okay. I've got it worked out. And this weekend's medical portion, I want to share with what it's going to be about. But you're going to have to tune in Saturday, 4 p.m. Central Time. You do the math for wherever you live at, but it's 4 p.m. Central. Okay. I'm doing about herbals and naturopathics for pain control. And there's a couple things I didn't realize. Okay. That in some states, there's certain naturopathics that grow from plants that are not legal, but they're legal at the federal level, and vice versa. There's some naturopathics that you can get at the state level that are highly regulated at the federal level. Now, I'm just going over what the naturopathics are. You look at your state level to see what's legal in your state. And other naturopathics, there's actually a weed called wild lettuce, and I get them growing in my backyard, but you can take that weed and turn it into a powder, and it's good for pain control. I use wild lettuce for pain control. But you can grow wild lettuce anywhere. It's a weed. Okay. I'm in Northwest Indiana. I can look and tell you, okay, that's wild lettuce. The problem is if someone sprays it with an herbicide or a pesticide, or they treat it like a weed, you're not going to want to pull that because all the chemicals. And I don't spray insecticides or pesticides in my backyard. I just pull the weeds and compost them. Does that make sense? So yeah, I get inspired from work about common medical issues that my patients deal with and how I can address it. And it came to fruition this week. I had a new female patient come in with IBS D, which is irritable bowel disease diarrhea. And just a few weeks ago, I did a video about how to manage IBS, irritable bowel disease, or irritable bowel syndrome, and what you can do if you have the diarrhea component or the constipation component or the mix on what probiotic was good for you. But I let her watch my video for a few minutes because I had it cut up into separate issues. So, but I don't prescribe these things. You have to go out and buy them wherever you buy them at. And I don't want them to link to my YouTube page because I'm not trying to sell supplements online at work. But the information is there. That's all I'm trying to divulge. That's why I make these medical videos. They're geared towards preppers, and preppers need to think holistically about health and not so much taking all these pills. Well, but the problem is I'm still telling people to take pills of natural stuff. And where I start losing it a little bit is when on some social media sites, okay, that are different books and whatnot, you have people comment about, well, you need to grow your own herbs and spices without regard to what grow zone they're in. Because certain vegetables, naturopathic herbs and stuff won't grow in the grow zone that you're in. If something needs to be grown subtropical and you're in grow zone 5, that's not going to be subtropical. And it'd be a struggle to grow those things. And would it really be worth it to grow that? And how would you turn it into a fine powder? You have to have a freeze dryer to do that, to generate, basically you get the fruit or the vegetable or the herb that you're going to grow. You freeze dry it, get it crushed into a fine powder, and then you put it into a pill form. And that's basically how they do that, believe it or not. That's why I think every prepper should have a freeze dryer, not just to make your own concoctions, but to freeze dry food. And then people will tell me that, well, the dehydrator is just as good as a freeze dryer. And I'm telling you, no, it's not. You can't take a food or herbal, basically desiccate it so it can be put into a pill form with a dehydrator. You need to use a freeze dryer for it. And they'll say, well, the freeze dryer is too expensive. They have them now under $2,000 at Harvest Right. I checked their prices. They have these ones that you can get that are bent or dinged, that are still operational, that still have their warranty at Harvest Right. And of course, anytime I post a video about freeze drying, I post because I have an affiliate with them. So if you're motivated to get a freeze dryer, and I sell, sort of help through that motivation, go through my affiliate link and help me out so I can make more videos. Or not. Do whatever you want. But I have a Harvest Right freeze dryer. I love it. There are limitations with a Harvest Right freeze dryer. It's not going to last forever. The pump needs to be changed. I like the oilless pump that I don't have to mess with. But you know that pump's going to fail eventually. So you're going to expect that pump to cost a little bit. So have a couple on hand. If you're a prepper, save up for it and be prepared. So I have spare parts for my freeze dryer. I don't have a spare oilless pump. Truth is, if I needed to, I could get an oil pump locally, for that matter, and it would still do the same thing. But I like the oilless pump. I don't like to mess with the pump. Putting the oil in, and it's basically just regular mineral oil, I think. Don't quote me on that. And you can reuse the oil if you filter it out good. It's not like it's engine oil. Oh, here's what I think about engine oil. I think that what they could do is repurpose the same engine oil that you've used and filter it. And because it basically get all the small pieces of metal that are from your engine and all the burnt oil, and just reuse the same oil that you had in your car. Okay. But no, it doesn't work like that. Because what do you think that they do with that oil that they take from your car? It's refurbished somewhere. They're making money off of overcharging you for oil, and taking your oil and making more money from it. I'm not a organic chemist, but basically that's an organic compound and it gets made into plastic. But I'm not an organic chemist. I don't deal with carbon chemistry. Deal with carbon people. So it's usually I'm at work right now. By the time I get out, 7:51 in the morning, I'm in my parking lot watching some people come in. Like, I wonder what's wrong with him. I wonder what's wrong with him or her. Today I'm off. Tomorrow I go into work. And then next week I'm off all week. I'm taking a vacation for the first time, really, in over 3 years that I've taken a real vacation, not recovering from something. Just a week. And I'm going to have to get on the computer during the week and get some work done. The work doesn't stop. That's just the way it is when you're a medical provider. I'll get what I can done Friday. I'll pick it up. I use the computer, get on some work done. But I think I'm going to sign off. Hopefully it dries out today. Suburban Prepper, God bless you, out.